Hello, Johnny London here once again. Now you join me today as I'm about to do a job in my small bathroom. The job in fact is just changing the tap. Now this tap, I've had it on here for a number of years and it's sort of, you can't really see, but it's all sort of a bit corroded and manky. So I'm going to have him out, and the sink, I've already sort of loosened all that up. I've taken out the waste already and I've cleaned that out. Actually, I cleaned it out really well, and that would have made a video in itself. Definitely, that was terrible, that was. But that's all nice and cleaned up now, and I've got a few other things to do. While I've got all this lot out, I can sort of refinish this bit of wood and run a new bit of sealant round, sort of do a bit of tidying up, and probably throughout the course of this job I shall have this radiator off, probably replace him, certainly decorate behind, and a few other bits and pieces too. So it's a bit of a sort of refresh in here really, but today's job is just getting this tap sorted out. Now I did all the pipe work under here originally, and we'll have a look at that in a second. It's very neat, it's very tidy, but a couple of things I didn't do. One is I didn't use any pipe clips. Now the reason for that was because when I fitted the first tap, it came with proper sort of copper tails, and I just sort of fitted everything to that, and it was all nice and sort of rigid. I also didn't put any isolator valves on because at the time I had the water off, and it was just as easy to go and turn the stopcock off and switch the boiler off as well, and you know, that achieves the same thing. But I've got the intention this time of putting isolator valves on. I think that could be handy in the future, and I've just had a little rummage in my toolbox and I found a couple in there anyway, so why not? Now there's a few different ways I can tackle this. The new tap, where is he? Quite a nice thing, completely different, but I have sort of measured up carefully to see that it's going to work for me, and it should be okay. It's got those, are they M12, M10, I think they're M10 tap tails, and it came with a couple of long flexi pipes. Now those flexi pipes are quite good because you don't have to be too precise with where you land the copper, so your copper pipes just sort of come into the vicinity, and then these will bend around a little bit, and you know, you can get away with not being too precise, and that won't cause any problems. So yeah, time to crack on. Anyway, let's have a look at the pipes under there and I'll show you what I've got to tackle. That's the waste pipe there on the left, but the bit I'm interested in today are these two 15mm copper pipes. Hot and cold go up through compression joints to the existing tap tails. Yeah, so I thought first thing I'd do is I'll get a couple of pipe clips on before I even do anything else, just get the pipes all sort of nice and sturdy, and then we'll work from there. But there's not much room in there, as you can probably guess. That's a bit better. Now fortunately, when I made this bath frame, I made it nice and strong, but I also screwed it together rather than nailing it, so I was easily able to take that upright out, and I've got much better access now actually. There's nothing difficult about this. It's just a bit of a faff because of the limited access. No problem with the access here though. Always keep your stopcock nice and handy, because you never know when you're going to need it, do you? Switching the boiler off stops the hot flow. I remove the basin and drain the old tap. Time to have a go at those pipes. Now you might get a little splash of water, but that's normal. There it comes. Well, That's the first one off. A little splash of water, but nothing to worry about. And I'll just go and do the second one now. Very difficult under there. Obviously, it's quite cramped, and I'm trying to let you guys see as well. So we'll see where we get to next. The second one didn't put up too much of a struggle. Do you know what? I've forgotten what a pain all this was. I'm just trying to undo the little nut on the very, very long threaded bolt that holds the tap in place, and hopefully I'll just about be able to jiggle it all out. I can't get the tails off it. They're sort of stuck fast, so hopefully I can draw the whole thing out through the hole. So only about another 100 turns to go. A bit more work with the spanner. And finish off by hand. Right. There we go. Don't need these anymore, so they can go. Oh. And there you have it, one tap. Just need to do something with that. Good little tip for you actually. When you've opened a pipe and you've disconnected it and caught whatever little bit of water comes out, and that does vary just depending on the situation of where the pipe is. It's another little thing to remember that just caught me out actually. I was clearing up, and quite without thinking I turned on the bath tap to rinse the sponge, and of course the water's turned off, so I didn't get any water out of the bath tap. But what did happen was that sort of released the suction, the vacuum as it were, in, you know, further back in the pipe works, and a load more water came sploshing out of the pipes I've got open now. So it's always a good idea when you're doing anything like that, you know, if you haven't got isolation valves, you're working on a sort of open pipe. If you turn on any other pipes around and about the place, then any water that's sitting in there that's just kind of being held will just sort of, you know, if it's going to, it'll let go. But no harm done. You're always going to get a bit of water, aren't you, when you're doing plumbing. Now, when I bought this tap, it was just going to be a quick fix, and I bought the cheapest one, didn't I? Now the old one weighs about 2.5 kilos, 3 kilos maybe. It's very heavy, more than the bag of sugar. So what's that, 1.5 kilos then? Nah, about a couple of kilos I'd say. This one, about 400 grams I should think. Is that made of actual tin foil? In fact, I don't know if you can read that at all, but I'll read it for you. It says, "Quality creates #1 servicer cheat brand. Quality bathroom instructions, the product's instruction." Right, well, what I was doing there, I was just marking the hole needs to be a little bit bigger for this tap. It needs a hole where the whole collar, the screw thread collar, can go through. The last one was a little bit different. I just did sort of like one hole for each pipe and another hole for the thread nut thing. So just going to work that out. Right, well that fits now. I really must get myself a proper set of wood files, rasps. These are just the ones for the boat, so mild steel really, a bit too fine. But the collar of the thing goes through, so I can pop the tap in place, and I'll be able to actually have a bit more to think about what I'm doing underneath with the pipe work. There's another collar and nut that go underneath. I've now decided how I'm going to do the pipes. I'm going to cut them back to here with my 15mm pipe cutter. pre-assembled some pipe onto the new valve, as working under here is less than ideal.
Get on there.
This tape will help ensure that the joint doesn't leak. Well, hopefully anyway. I've put on plenty. Now I just tighten up the nut. And that's one valve in place.
Do you?
Well, that really is the most uncomfortable position I've been in since I had to get the bill at my last date. Women really do pick the most inappropriate moment to go to the bathroom, don't they? But anyway, I probably should have more tools, but I always seem to just about get by with what I've got, and that is the 2 isolation valves on. Now the second one, I put the little corner on the elbow, the compression elbow, before I fitted the valve, so that was easier. I've now got to squeeze back under again and put the corner on the other valve that's already on there, but after that I think we're pretty much there. Here they are, all in place. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and turn the water back on, and then I'll just sort of observe for leaks. I've got the stop valves, the isolator valves turned off. That's the way I want to leave them, because I don't want to tighten up the flexes at either end. They're pretty much a one-shot thing. You do them up sort of quite tight, not too tight to damage the seals, but invariably you give them a little bit of an extra half twist, don't you, just to really make sure. And so it's better if you just sort of do them the one time, really. So I don't need to have that tap working at the moment. I've got more work to do there, more prep and things and mucking about, so I'll just get the rest of the domestic water back on, leave those isolators off, and that'll do me for today. An hour's clearing up though, no doubt. So it's on with the water, on with the boiler, and on with the tap. The other elbow went on without too much bother. See you next time.